Okay, good morning, everyone. My name's Harrison Ma. I'm one of the investment managers here at ShareWise. Today, we're very fortunate to be joined by Executive Director Justin Virgin of Terrain Minerals. We've had Justin on before. Very, very happy to have him on again. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
Yeah, hi Harry. Thanks for having us go.
Of course. As always, everyone, this webinar will be recorded, so if you can't view the webinar in its entirety, it's available on our YouTube channel, and we'll have some time for Q&A towards the end. So Justin, we're going to do a bit more of a Q&A style webinar today. First and foremost, I think it's probably wise you give our attendees a bit of context on the business and a bit about Terrain Minerals.
Yeah, okay. So Terrain Minerals, for people who don't know, we're a West Australian-based exploration company. We're pushing forward and developing our Smokebush Gold Project, which has a couple of areas on it. And we're also developing a gallium rare earth project, which is also on the same project. So we're blessed to have two exciting commodities there, well, three actually, because we're getting some pretty impressive hits of silver as well. Our other project we're pushing forward is a new one, is our Billawheeler Queensland project. And we've only just had that grant after 2 years, so it's taken a long time. We've got 2,500 square kilometres north of Krakow and south of the town of Billawheeler, so we're very excited to finally get it. So we'll be later this year getting up on the ground. So they're our main projects. We've a couple other ones still pending, but yeah, that's more than enough to keep us busy at the moment.
Of course. Of course. Now, when we had you on last time in October, we spoke a bit about the Smokebush project. My understanding is you've had some drilling conducted on that project. Pretty successful, I might add. Do you want to go into a bit about that?
Yeah, I believe in October we're doing the air core over the wildflower area, and we had some pretty impressive hits there. So the wildflower and Lightning and Monza are apart, but they sit around the Mount Margot intrusive unit. So Rothsay Gold Mine is also there. So at Wildflower, it's a little bit early. We've got some nice hits with the air core. We've done a few RC probe drilling there in December, so since we spoke. And we can see some northwest trending structures. There's gold in it. This needs a lot more work. We're planning an IP survey, and we're doing IP because IP works so well up at Lightning at Monza. So after we spoke, we did the drilling there with RC. We did some more drilling at Lightning and Monza. And like Lightning and Monza, we did a series of holes. We've already got 700 metres of mineralisation at Monza. We had one hole into Lightning, and I think it was 3 metres at 6 grams a tonne. We thought we had two, but it's actually one of them was actually in Monza. We've gone back and we got 11 metres at 6 grams and 43.5 grams silver in Lightning from about 50 metres through depth. And we got another couple of metres at 6 as well. So, and we chased a couple of down dip structures on Monza, which sits 50 metres apart. And we've chased one of them down to 120 metres through depth, and we got 5 metres at almost 4 grams. So there's a lot going on here. So this program we're doing as we speak. My geologist up there now drilling. We're doing 17 holes for 3,500 metres. We're basically got Monza, so we're chasing some of them down dip. Lightning's there. So some of the holes are going down through both and out the other side, hoping to pick some more up. But we're just trying to unlock what's going on there. It's pretty exciting to be drilling basically a new discovery. It looks like there might be a couple of more structures sitting behind it, and that's what we're testing. If you look in our presentation that we did at RIU in Sydney, was on the 5th of May. You will see the drill design in there, and it'll take you step by step. But I guess the signature, what we're seeing in the background chemistry is a little bit different in both of these as well. So they may be non-related. We do have VMS systems to our north at Golden Grove, and also Capricorn Metals Mount Gibson operation to our south. So we're in a VMS territory. So we're unsure with where we're at the moment, but this drill program, I think, is going to tell us a lot more.
Absolutely. Yeah, sounds very exciting. And so with the Lightning and Monza drilling, what would come next with the campaign once you have the results?
My gut feeling is we'll be going back there doing 5,000-10,000 metres pretty quickly. I think it's looking really good. So we're excited. And, you don't get big zones like that and nothing else. I'd be surprised. So we're testing under it and around it. It needs more drilling. We'll also take the IP survey down at Wildflower, which is to the south, and we'll do some more RC down there as well. We think we're seeing a bit of sulfide down there as well. So we just need to really understand and target our drilling a little bit better. That's why we're going to do the IP survey. So there's a lot on the gold front happening at the Smokebush Gold Project.
Yeah, fantastic. And also at Smokebush, you mentioned you're advancing a gallium project as well. That is that at Smokebush as well?
It is. It's Lawrence Lane.
Yeah.
It's about 5 k's away, so it's on the eastern side of the project or tenement package.
Yep.
We have a bit of a unique one here. It's a bit different. Our gallium project is sitting in a regolith or in a clay sand from surface. And it's a unique geological sort of setting. Like outside of it, we've got pretty no gallium hits at all. But once you're in this sort of drainage channel, which goes down to an old river, we've basically got 2 granites that have come up and pinched. They're different styles of granites. And obviously the big zone, which is 3 k's across by 9 k's, has actually eroded over time into a regolith. And there seems to be concentrations of gallium and also rare earth there. We see along the contact, we have the rare earth and gallium, but above that, the rare earth disappears pretty much, and it's just concentrated gallium up to almost 54 grams a tonne. We've got zones up to 63 metres thick, and we've got a JORC exploration target over 5% of the area. So that's exciting. It's a conservative sort of stage sort of numbers at the stage, as you'd imagine, being an estimate. But we've got about 10 holes outside across the whole 27 square k's. We know the geology is the same, so there's a good chance, and RC have sort of said they believe it's going to be similar elsewhere. So the idea would be going there and do a larger drill out in the future. So fortunately, we're a part of a WA government-funded critical minerals MET study that we're doing, and our samples are in there now. They're doing some testing, and it's been run by Curtin University and RSC, and those results hopefully will be positive. They're using some detergents that are sort of about like acid levels 6 or 7 on the acid table, so it's sort of like coffee or orange juice. So once we have a MET solution, we'll then make an end product, show some customers, and then it'll be time to go back and do a larger drill out and a mining study.
Fantastic. Okay, and we spoke prior to this webinar about the critical role of gallium in semiconductors and even AI as well. How, I think from memory, when we spoke last time, you said China dominates about 98% of the gallium market. How does Terrain Minerals plan to position itself in the gallium market, especially with this Lawrence Lane development?
Look, assuming that we get a MET solution, our project is the only one I can see out there that it's in a sand or a clay, so it'll be easy mining, but offers scale and size. So most other projects out there, and the Chinese, are parts of aluminium mining or bauxite. So sometimes they're on a rich gallium seam, sometimes they're not. So we could set up gallium only production to suit whatever client basically wants. Build a specific project. China with the 98%. Look, it has been, as we're seeing more in the news, people are leveraging their strengths in trade wars, etc. And gallium is one of the casualties, but just highlights the need for an alternate supply. Australia is a safe jurisdiction, and gallium's the glue that holds the world together. I don't really think it's only a small amounts used, most of the world stops without it. LED lights in your house doesn't work without gallium. They're putting it in magnet motors than in cars and that because it helps stabilizers. Gallium nitrates always are made put in computer chips, transistors, because that allows them to switch faster, operate at higher temperatures, and run at lower voltages. So basically, AI and quantum computing doesn't work without gallium. It's an amazing stuff. It basically gets just under 29 degrees. It melts in your hand, but it doesn't boil to 2,400 degrees. So it's got unique properties that can't be replaced.
Yeah, replicate it. Absolutely. Okay. Do you want to touch on any other projects that you're advancing on, or I think you said you've got a few that you either waiting on approval for or in development.
Also, our Billawheeler project, we're now just talking to landholders there about getting access. No major kickbacks at the moment. We'd reached out before, but until they're granted, no one's really that keen to talk to us. There's not much point really. So now they're granted, we've gone back doing that with the idea of getting in the ground. But we've got rock chips up to 9% copper and 2 grams gold. We're north of Krakow. There's some nice big. If you go back to that 5th of May presentation, you can see big soil anomaly that's sitting there. That's never been followed up. There's 7 walk-up drill targets. This land's been locked up in a couple other companies for 15 years. The majors have been there and not followed up for whatever reason, but it's exciting to have a nice, big, very geologically active area that may house something of significance that hasn't really been looked at properly. So we've also got a project up in the Pilbara, Clindy, not all granted yet, but it's more of a lithium. There might be a gold edge to it. So we're looking at running a study over that, which will look at its AI learning. We like to use sort of new tech to give us the edge. So we're potentially running a program over that. That'll look at the gold potential as well as lithium potential. We're on strike from Wildcat. So their major structure runs down through to us. We're undercover. It's never been looked at. It's been locked up in FMG since 2008. So it's, pardon the pun, it's very virgin sort of land.
Yeah. Okay. And just coming back to the Billawheeler, is that the correct pronunciation?
Billawheeler.
Billawheeler, sorry. What would the planned exploration activities for Billawheeler look like over, say, the next 12 months?
We'd love to be up there at the end of this year doing some drilling, and that's our plan. We've got a couple of projects that we've picked out that we really want to get to, and on the back of that, we'll have a rig spinning, drillers so they can do the work for us. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing the work. We're busy at Smokebush, to be honest with you. Our Lawrence Gallium is at met study, so it doesn't take much of our attention because that'll be finished towards the end of the year. Then we can take that one forward further, we hope. But our Smokebush, looks like we're drilling out a deposit here. So still needs a lot more holes. I think that's going to keep us busy, very busy for the next 12, 18 months.
Yeah.
From what we're seeing. So we want to get onto both, but the Smokebush Gold silver is our main focus at the moment because it's looking very, very real.
Yeah, of course. Now we do have a question in the Q&A, which we'll touch on, and it's correct that there has been some excitement with gallium of late. How would you rate TMX's Smokebush project compared to others that you would say are more advanced? So it goes on, especially when most are only really starting with initial drilling results, whereas TMX there is approximately MR only on a small area. So how does it compare to other players in the market at the moment? Obviously, still sounds like it's in its infancy.
Look, I think I'm going to let everyone do whatever they want to do. We're just getting on with what we're doing. The key difference, I think, is that we're in a sand or regolith, so it's soft digging. We're already oxidized material, where from the other ones I see out there aren't. And we've got scale because it's sitting over 27 plus kilometres area. It's very defined, may get a bit bigger. So everything else I see out there, typically it's hard rock. Some of the grades are a bit better, but there's always a trade-off of economies of scale and grade and cost of digging it out, and also extraction. Now, oxide in some materials makes it a bit easier. I'm not saying it's going to be in this. I don't know until we get the studies back. But ours is a little bit unique, I think, just because of its size and scale. But ultimately, it'll come down to the met. There are other players out there doing met studies. I don't think any of them are part of the newer study, but they're using similar institutions to that. Good luck to everyone, basically.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Now, I see you also have a very attractive rights issue open to eligible shareholders. I believe that closes on June 17th. I had a look. Can you go into that a little bit?
Look, we did a small placement, that's $730,000 due to capacity restraints. all went to existing shareholders. So it's good to have a bit of confidence there with our existing shareholder base. I can't really play all that without shareholder approval, but we've done a rights issue following because we thought it was a pretty attractive offer with a 1-for-1 option attached. And if it's going to shareholders, it's their company. So we've rolled it out now. We've sent out, emails and post application forms. It's at 0.3 of a cent. So with a 1-for-1 attaching option, that strike price is 0.5. It has a 2-year life. They're unlisted, but it's attractive. It sort of supercharges your investment on success, having that option there. So I hope we get some good uptake. It's been reasonably strong to date. We're only 3-4 days in. The board is taking up their rights. It's about $116,000, including myself, and me and another director of priority underwritten. So any shortfall, I'll take 100 myself, and Jason's going to take 15. So the board's in there. We're supporting the company. We believe in what we're doing, or else we wouldn't put our own money there. So I think the gold drilling is pretty special. That's why I'm writing a check. And I assume that's why everyone else will be as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We'll give our attendees a bit of time to put together any final questions, but I'd like to know, obviously, as the executive director, what is the most exciting part of this business at the moment? It sounds like, as you said, the gold at Smokebush is, it's very encouraging. What else do you love about the business and the opportunity?
A lot of things, I guess. Look, we've been pretty active over the last few years. A lot of things, I guess, a bit of a funnel. The projects that we've been trying to get, and a lot of the work that we've been doing, like Smokebush, we've had that for about 4 or 5 years now.
Right.
We've been poking around trying to figure out what's going on. We've had different geologists along the journey. The guys moved on, and we've stuck with it, and we're now having success. So it's not an overnight success. This has been a lot of hard work and a lot of trial and error using different geological techniques. And IP seems working great. So I think we're sort of slightly cracking it, and that's the exciting thing. It's just that persistence. Instead of jumping here, jumping there, we've stuck to a bit of a strategy, and it's now starting to pay off for us. The gallium is also very exciting. It's a bit of a cutting edge new area. And they're both in the same area, so that's good. And the Queensland, we're happy. Copper gold, we took a view a couple of years ago that copper gold was a place to be, and that's why we positioned ourselves there in Queensland. And it took a little bit longer to get it granted through the government procedure there. It's a bit different to West Australia, but it's exciting to have it. I've been up there. I've seen secondary copper hanging out the ground everywhere. So there's something going on. So there's a
lot to get out of bed for.
There is, and we got supportive shareholders. They've been really good. I think the top 300 control about 92% of the company, and we know most of them. So we've had a group of people that stuck with us over the journey, which is great. And we try to encourage people. That's how you're going to ultimately make more money, is based on success, and staying and backing someone and backing a group.
Absolutely. Yeah, perfect. All right, Justin. Well, thanks for your time this morning. It's been great to dive into the business and what's coming up. Sounds very exciting, and we look forward to seeing more growth. And what it's been about 6 months, 7 months, or 8 months since our last webinar. We'll have to do another one towards the end of the year.
So we've probably done about 100 holes since then. So we're not messing around. We get in there and do the drilling. So thank you, Harry. Really appreciate you having us, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Thank you everyone for attending. Cheers.